So, first of all, since our last meeting, baseball has officially announced its return. It's coming back in about, what was it now, 2 weeks?
Today's the 8th. 23rd is, I believe, the first two games. So 15 days?
So a little
14,
more than
13?
little more than 2 weeks, yeah.
No, today's the 8th. It's 17 days. Oh, wait, I don't know. Yeah, just whatever edits.
Yep, I'll edit this, yeah. All right, so that's going to be in a few weeks. What's happening right now is, especially in the last week, we've seen what could be a potential big change for the team that we root for. I mean, 2 years ago, Sean, we got rid of this. We got rid of the Wahoo, and then now we might be getting rid of what you have on your shirt right there. Actually, it's not on your shirt. It says American. That would be
Yeah.
another name, but
It is Carlos Santana.
that's right, yeah. So what I want to talk about today is what a lot of Cleveland baseball fans have been talking about this week is a potential name change. I even wrote an article for the 92.3 The Fan a few days ago. It's a sensitive time right now in America, and we're not the only team that's dealing with this, and we're probably not going to be the last team that's dealing with this.
Definitely not.
But it makes me wonder if the name change is going to happen, and then what the name change is going to be.
They wouldn't put out a tweet like they did the other week,
right?
Without actually probably going through with a name change as soon as maybe next year or in 2022. I'm fine if the name changes, to be honest. Will I have some attachment to the name Indians? Yes, it's what we grew up on, but I understand. I've done research projects on Native American mascots and Native American names for professional college high school teams. I still think that I'm not ever going to fall out of love with Cleveland's baseball team. They're the players I root for. If they're still the same players, why am I going to root against them? There's no reason to.
Sure, and I don't think it's you're still going to be a fan of the team if they whether or not they change their name. Probably, if you're going to get mad and root for another team, you weren't a fan to begin with. I mean, the whole name started allegedly because they wanted to honor a player that they used to have. I mean, the legend has always been they based it off a guy, Louis Sock Alexis, who was named Chief, played 3 years with the Indians, only played those 3 years in his professional career. What I am here to talk about today and what you are here to talk about today is a potential changing of the guard or the name. And I'm not sure what name they're going to go with. There have been names floating around recently, and I got a whole list here of potential ones that we can talk about.
I know that Terry Pluto also mentioned that back when the Cavs in the 70s, they put like 5 names out there for fans to vote on, which that would be, pretty cool to do that, have fans vote on a new name. I'd like to do that rather than it just being like all internal dialogue and no fan input.
I actually have those names here. If they didn't go with Cavaliers, some of the other potential names that they had were the Towers, Jays, Foresters, and Presidents.
The Jays and Foresters didn't sound too bad. The other two, 50-50.
I like Presidents, but I mean that's just me. So
the Presidents was okay.
That's for a team. That could be a team in DC that we could be seeing another name change too. But I don't know.
I don't know with the color scheme. I think they're probably going to go with a certain name.
So the names that I have a list here are based on a list according to Odds Shark. Now, at last check, this was yesterday's odds according to their website. At plus 400 odds coming in, the Great Lakers, which would be even greater than the current Lakers we have in the NBA.
I don't know. That sounds a little too tacky. I don't like that one. Like, if the Lakers didn't exist, maybe, but it just sounds like a tacky take on LA Lakers.
Yeah, the LA Lakers, that's not even geographically correct because they came over from Minnesota, the land of 10,000 lakes.
Even though we have Lake Erie, I just don't think that fits, especially, like Great Lakers. Like, I think people just automatically go and think Jabbar, Kobe, maybe LeBron if he wins a title.
Yeah, it sounds like a minor league name, if I'm going to be honest. Coming in at 3,300, plus 3,300, the Fellers. I'm assuming it's named after the legendary
Bob Feller,
pitcher, who I met.
I would not mind that. That would be an interesting one. I'm just trying to figure out how the logo would work. I mean, would it just be like his iconic stance, like how they have with the statue outside the stadium?
Maybe. Because I don't. That's a weird.
I'm interested, or maybe just some sort of like file photo that they could try and use. I'm not sure. Like, it wouldn't be the exact photo, but it would be something where, like, you're honoring Bob Feller. Would you say he is definitely the best player in franchise history?
I mean, it's hard to argue. 260 plus wins, however many no hitters he threw, won a World
Yeah.
Series, retired the year the Cy Young Award was first awarded. So he probably would have won a few of those in his lifetime if they had had it back then.
Yeah.
I don't know. I mean, he's the only guy, he's one of the few guys that spent his entire career in Cleveland. So
Yeah.
at 2,500, the Unions, which I thought was interesting.
The Unions. Why exactly the Unions?
Well, I was kind of looking it up, and I'm not exactly sure still. I think it might be. I was wondering if it was another team. We're probably going to cut this stuff out because it looks like we don't really know what we're talking about. Yeah. The only thing I'm seeing here is like the Union Club in Cleveland.
Could it be just basically like the strength of unions in Ohio, something like that?
I think it's kind of based on that. I'm gonna cut the whole Unions thing out
Yeah.
of the way.
I don't like the unions at all.
Yeah. There are two of them tied for 2,000 odds. The Crows and a very popular name that I've been seeing recently, the Rockers.
Rockers, I could get behind like some sort of like a guitar logo or something where like you have like a guitarist or a band member that like
Right.
from a marking standpoint that would be perfect. What was the other one you said?
The Crows.
The Crows, that's interesting. I don't know how people would take to that with I know it's not the same sport, but Baltimore Ravens. I don't know if fans would go for that one, but it could be a definitely interesting concept. But I think with the Rockers, like the one thing I would like to see with potential name change is the uniform colors stay the same. I think with the Rockers, you could definitely get away with that since it's more like red, white, blue.
Yeah, the Crows kind of works because it's like C, Cleveland C, and then Rockers. I should mention, by the way, people are being sarcastic about it because they don't want to see that the Rocks name. Rocks is actually at plus 1,000 odds right now, and it's Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. The Drew Carey Show song is based off of it. I mean, I don't know. By the way, you mentioned a Baltimore team with a bird in it, and you didn't think of the Orioles.
I don't know why they didn't come into my mind. Hey, they suck. They suck is my only excuse.
Whether or not
they are the afterthought of anything right now. Like,
hey man, there's only 60 games we played this year. All they need to do is go on a 10-game winning streak, and
hey, if we were playing the Orioles, I probably would have brought them up.
Well, I mean, we're not. I'll tell you. I mean, I skipped over one name with the Rocks at plus 1,500, the Cuyahogas.
That's not gonna go well.
I mean, the team could go on a winning streak, go on fire like the River did. I mean,
dude, you're too proud of yourself for that one.
I am very proud of myself for that one. All right, coming in at plus 900. This is another one based off of the original name of the American League franchise, the Blue Birds, which God knows they're never going to name the team that. The Blue Sox, because the team was also known as Blues back then, and it's kind of a play on like Red Sox, Reds,
I don't know if Blue Sox would work, and if you would just do it like
every team
BLU, but I wouldn't mind the Bluebirds. I'm not going to lie. I'm not saying it's my favorite choice. I'm just saying I'm not against it.
Look, Bluebirds it would never be intimidating or engaging for fans. Blue Sox maybe, but again, half the teams in the league.
Have you seen Kent State's esports team logo? I think it has some sort of like of a bluebird on it. You could kind of model it after that in a way.
It's like the Flash is an eagle, and we're kind of associated with that. The Indians aren't associated with birds except for that short era of the early years of their existence.
All right, given.
Plus 800. Ricky Vaughn would be very proud of this one. The Wild Things.
I like that would fit perfectly with Slider. Well, I could imagine.
Yeah,
like you'd be able to keep the like. That could be a dark horse right there. The Wild Things. I like that. I do. The more I think about it, now that I think about Slider popping up in connection, because he's kind of like a wild thing in his own right.
That's the kind of name you give to a team in like the shows if they have like franchise mode, but I don't know if you would actually name a professional team that. I mean,
you had a movie that basically
was
on Cleveland. It was on Cleveland. Let's not just say basically. It was on Cleveland, two of them.
Yeah.
And I mean, they're they're universally well liked as far as I know. Please correct me if I'm wrong, comments. But I think it could be a dark horse in this.
I would like to
But
just see a reliever that we acquire one day that kind of has like wily hair and like a big personality, just so we could have him run out to that song every ninth thing. I would like to see that. I don't need to see. I
if
mean, look,
Clevenger had ever become a reliever, it would have been him.
if Brad Hand goes through a phase this summer, maybe we can get something going. But then there's no fans to like emphasize it, so I don't know.
There will be
Coming in,
media though.
yeah, it's true. I mean, plus 700.
Plus, yeah,
Go ahead.
there's going to be fan noise apparently too that they're experimenting with.
Yeah, but I mean, it's going to be a weird season we're going to have to deal with. Plus 700, based on what's being talked about right now. I can't remember who was the writer that brought this one up. The Dobies, based off of the
Yeah,
second ever African American baseball player in the major leagues.
that could be something, especially in the current climate, that could receive a lot of
Yeah.
good things. Second player, if I remember correctly, hearing this morning,
Yep.
that broke the color barrier, the
Yep.
first in the American League, and he did very well here. And
Mhm.
he's got. I mean, the Dobies would definitely be up there, like along with Feller too. Dobie
Yeah.
is one of the best players in franchise history. If you honor him, I'm just trying to figure out like how you would do the logo. That's my biggest thing with Feller and Dobie is a new logo.
I'm gonna say it right now. They're never gonna name it after a player like they used to,
Yeah, because
because
the only ones are like what the Browns. Probably that's it. That's
that's
going to
true.
ever have
That's
that
true.
happen.
But we've kind of associated Browns now with like bulldogs and elves, whereas with Adobe, it's just gonna be like, what is Adobe? Like, is Adobe like a magical fairy? Is Adobe
You can
like
think
a
about Dobby the
wizard?
Elf from Harry Potter.
Oh my lord, you just blew my mind. Oh, I didn't even think about that.
Oh,
I mean, it's stupid, but you kind of blew my mind with that one. That's actually amazing. Okay, so the last four names are the ones that I have personally seen the most chatter about online, and these are the four ones that I think not only myself but OddsShark thinks are the best suited for a potential name change. So plus 600. Speaking of Larry Doby, he played in the Negro Leagues. The team that played in the Negro Leagues were the Cleveland Buckeyes. And I'm going to tell you right now, Sean, this name's not going to happen, but it is my favorite out of all the ones on this list.
I mean, it's never going to happen, especially with Ohio State. But if they were, I don't know, like just because you already have this big established brand, like maybe if Ohio State was a trash, poor program.
Yeah. The Buckeyes is a state thing. Like it's
Yeah.
the state of Ohio. It's not a Cleveland thing, really. So
Yeah.
as much as I want to get one of those Cleveland Buckeye jerseys that you can buy on some websites, along with the
I did not know that those existed.
yeah, it's a cool looking shirt. Also, the New York Black Yankees. I want to get
Is
that.
it?
So plus 500. If you've gone into Cleveland, you have seen the when you've gone onto the bridge, you'll see those like Guardian figures on there. So
Yeah.
Guardians is at plus 500. It's not a bad one. It's not a
I
bad name.
like it. I remember and this is a little bit of a side story here, for our senior homecoming, we did a night in Cleveland theme. This was coming off the championship,
Oh, okay.
and we had like Guardian statues set up in like our main foyer,
Hmm.
and like other like Cleveland sites like from around like different areas of Cleveland, like the glass chandeliers, I would call it right now,
Yeah.
and like Playhouse Square, everything like that. Like the Guardians, it's interesting. I saw a design that our buddy Enzo put out with the Cleveland Buzzards, to bring
Hmm.
another name in here, and it had black in it, and I'm just like, it was too much black. It's like I don't like the black design for that team. It's an interesting logo, but I just don't think that one fits. But the Guardians, I like it. I do like the name.
It's a generic name out of the four top ones. I think it could work. I just don't think people would be as excited about it compared to maybe a couple of other names, especially one that
You
we're
could
going
do
to.
something like with like two swords and like a guardian head or
Yeah,
something like that
that's
behind
true.
it.
That's true. How many of these names do you think, by the way, before we get into the next one, how many names do you think we would need to change the color scheme around? Or do you think we could just have the red and blue throughout?
So you're saying like how many names would there be that have to have the color change?
Right, because
Uh,
if we're changing imagery, do we have to change the color scheme as well, or do you think that we can get
it
around
de-
that?
it depends on how you design the logo and
That's
what
true.
your concept design for the logo is.
Yeah.
From most of the ones that pop into my head, I'd say just a shade under from what we've talked about, 50% would require a change. The other one, but like I'd say the majority, you could find a way to work in most of the colors. Maybe drop the gray. I don't know, but you could at least keep the red. You'd be able to keep the white. It'd just be between the
Yeah.
gray and the blue would be the only two
Well, every team
things.
needs gray for when they're on the road.
Right. Yeah. So the only question is, would the blue be able to stick around?
That's the question, and I'm not sure it would with the top name that we're going to get to, but we're not there yet. We're going to get to the second highest odds on this list, which completely takes me like it baffles me a little bit. At plus 400 odds, the second best in the name change potentially, according to OddsShark, a name that we've had before, the Naps. And you know what?
After that, no. Yeah. After Napa Lowy. Why did I get so tripped up on that?
Lajoie.
Lajoie.
Anyway, the Naps obviously named after the French Canadian Nap Lajoie. I thought he was. I used to think he was the guy that they named the Indians after him. It turned out it's not him. Hall of Fame player, really good player in his time, and they obviously named the team after him because he was so good. But to do it now, it just doesn't seem like. Again, going back to like the Dobies or the Fellers or the Great
Yeah.
Lakers, it just doesn't seem like a name that
Yeah.
people can really get behind.
With Nap, it's just he's not, I feel like, as ingrained as like Dobie and Feller are.
Well, he doesn't have a
That's the reason
statue
why,
out
like,
there for him.
hmm?
They don't have a statue of him out there for him.
Yeah, and that's part of the reason why I don't think Nap is going to be in the consideration when it's all said and done. I think when they maybe get down to a list of 10, if any of or all of these, appear on that list before the cut down, Fellers and Dobies will probably appear.
Can we just agree that we're past the era of teams naming themselves after players? Can we just accept that and move on?
Yeah, we can accept that.
If the Yankees didn't rename themselves the Bambinos, then no other player is going to be able to get a name change like that. And then finally,
Oh boy,
the one name that we know it was coming on the list in all probability, and in my opinion, it's probably going to be the one that they're going to go back to. It was there until the end of the 19th century, and it hasn't been there since, and it might come back. The Cleveland Spiders. Now, Sean, this may be the most marketable opportunity for the Indians out of all the names on this list.
It definitely is. I mean, you have so many possibilities. I can't draw things out of my head necessarily right now, but like the other day, I could come up with like 3 or 4 different designs like at an hour and just think, this is something like you could tweak around so many different ways. It'd probably be like a black, gray, red color scheme with white in there too.
Yeah.
That would be a name where I'd be fine with dropping the blue if they were to somehow working in there as like kind of like a striping. I'd be fine with that. But that definitely is a name where I'm not opposed to it. I think I'm a little more leaning towards Guardians right now, but Spiders definitely the most marketable. The only thing is, if anyone's like a baseball historian, will they accept like the losing that came with the Cleveland Spiders? That's the only thing that I wonder about. I don't think it'll be a big sticking point, but that is something I do wonder about among like some certain folks. Not saying anyone's name, just something that I've just generally observed.
Well, the losing didn't really occur until that last season when the owner basically butchered his own team and sent all the players to St. Louis.
Yeah, kind of like your old baseball owner video that you did.
Yeah, that literally that happens after he sold that team. And I'm going to make a video about that very, very soon. So the Spiders, you have marketing opportunities like you can make new uniforms. Doesn't even have to get rid of the blue. They can replace it with black. They can do anything. You can make that amazing logo concept that I've been seeing online. You can even make a deal with Marvel to get Spider-Man to be a mascot. Maybe the Guardians of the Galaxy too, if they can get the Guardians in there. But Spider-Man,
I don't know if you'd be able to get all the Guardians because there's too many, but Spider-Man. If you're able to get Spider-Man, especially what? Spider-Man is a Cleveland-based creation.
Well, he's a Browns fan. I mean, no, Superman.
Yeah.
Superman was a Cleveland creation. But Tom Holland, the guy who plays
That's the
Spider-Man,
thing. The heroes, Cleveland heroes. Why hasn't that been brought up? Like you'd have several marketing opportunities, like with Mr.
yeah,
Hero and a few other places.
that could be a good one. I was gonna say Tom
Like you
Holland,
could go Superman with that, and
the
you could
Cleveland
go,
Superman.
yeah, like not. It wouldn't be like the Cleveland Superman. Like you could go with like a Superman-esque color palette, and I don't think anybody would kind of complain about that, in my opinion. Like if you go with a slightly darker blue, the normal red, and then maybe just like on the cap you have like some yellow in it, because I don't think yellow is going to look too good on like with those colors on the jersey. Maybe you have like a little bit of trim like from like the shoulder areas.
Just to be clear, the players will all be wearing capes, correct?
I mean, we'll
This
have
is
to
the
see
deal
if they.
breaker.
I mean, if they have to wear capes in the outfield, I'll agree to
There
that.
you go. Yeah. So those are the names on the Odd Shark list. Now I also have a couple of other names listed here too, and we'll just go rapid fire with them. Number one being the Broncos, which was actually another team name that the Indians had in their early days. They were also known as the Bronchos too. Like it was a weird thing. The newspapers would be like, they would just nickname them, and then nicknames would sometimes stick, and then sometimes they wouldn't.
Yeah.
It was a weird thing.
Broncos, no. Broncos, yes. You have what? Two Cardinals franchises, the St. Louis and Arizona.
Yeah, it's true. I'll give you that. Yeah, I'll give you that. And a couple of other ones on here. The Rockets, maybe the Rockets, like Houston, to kind of go around that rock and roll thing. Toledo's named the Rockets. Toledo's kind of close to Cleveland.
Toledo and Houston, I don't know.
No, I don't think that would work. We don't have any association.
I don't like that's exact. Well, the only thing that you could associate just in Ohio in general is Neil Armstrong.
Oh, I thought you were going to say John Glenn. Yeah, but him too. Yeah.
I almost was, but
Yeah.
I took a second for my brain to be like, wait, John Glenn's not the guy. It's like, oh, Neil Armstrong, obviously.
Yeah. I'm surprised of one name that was on this list, one that I've been kind of seeing circulating that I thought we could name them for a few years, is one that we call them already, the Tribe. We could get around
The thing
that.
is, it's too closely associated with the current name. And that's where it gets really sketchy. Like just from even looking at this from non-fan point of view, just from a whole societal point, taking my emotion out of it, like I don't see that going over well. It really does not go over well, like especially if you're trying to disassociate yourself with the name Indians. Tribe is going to be way too similar. Now, that would be a name that, maybe it's under consideration, but I feel like they'll ultimately rule it out.
Sure, there's going to be still some people, just like now, they'd complain until a change is potentially made. So, I don't know.
Yeah.
What if we just named them the Redskins and just left it there and just didn't let people complain? What if Dolan just did that?
There would be hell to pay.
All right. Well, that was a good one, Sean. Thank you again for coming on, and I'm sure we're going to have some more discussions in the future, potentially with a new name set in stone for not just the Indians, but potentially other teams. Anything that you would like to promote really quick before we sign off?
Follow me on Twitter if you haven't already at Fitz on Sports BSR. Also check out all of Mitch's other amazing videos. He takes a lot of time and puts effort into them. And we will hopefully see you within a month or sooner? Question marks?
Oh, yeah. I mean, by that time, baseball will be back. We'll have some games in, and we'll be able to talk about what's going on, and we're going to get some live sports back. We are this close. We're this close.
Please support Black Squirrel Radio. We need the support and everything we can get.
Absolutely. Thank you guys for watching, and we will see you guys soon.
Later.